Hey, I'm Rachel J, and this is Cultivator Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you a super easy, low equipment, beginner way to start seeds for your garden. This is a really simple seed starting guide. No fancy equipment. I don't have a greenhouse. I don't have grow lights. So it's not going to be perfect. I'll show you what can go wrong with it. But this is what I'm doing this year to start all of my seeds for my garden. And I hope it will help you guys out too if you're getting started. Here is my seed starting area, and it's, as I mentioned, very beginner, very low budget. So this is the bench for my outside patio and the only room where we have south-facing light that's semi-sufficient is our bedroom. So I have the seed starting happening currently in our bedroom. So I wanted to show you guys how I make this work. And obviously it's not perfect. They aren't quite getting enough light. They're a bit leggy, which is when they get too skinny and tall compared to how much leaves they have. And that is because they're reaching for light. And you can see they're all bending towards the window. So I try to rotate this every other day. So it's not perfect. If you had grow lights or a greenhouse, these would be looking way better, but this does work. And it works really well. So these are all about a week old and they look phenomenal. Some grow faster, some seed varieties grow faster, others are just coming up at 1 week. So what I use that I just find works the best is these little pellets. So I will link to these below. I get them on Amazon. You can buy like 100 or 200 for really cheap. They come as a little hard brick and you have to put water on them to reconstitute them. And they expand in this little mesh. And then when they're super moist, you put the seed in and it will come up and sprout very easily. So I will show you those. I'm going to plant a few more today. I'm going to plant my kabocha squashes because I like to start those later. So I'll show you the whole process. The other thing that is key to keeping them moisturized and warm is when I first start these, I'll put a lid on until they're this, obviously they're too tall for the lid now, but these are just empty spinach containers. When I know I'm going to need them, I will buy baby kale or baby spinach in these giant plastic containers, and then I take the labels off and I will just put these on top like this, and they get all moist and steamy like a greenhouse, and it's amazing. And I think that's the key to this working so well. And of course, once they get tall enough or it's warm enough outside, then I'll just take them off. And this one actually was a gift. You can see I reuse it a lot, so it's getting broken, but I don't want to waste it since it is plastic. And these are completely reused. Obviously, we ate all the greens inside, and now we have these cute little mini greenhouses. So this is how I like to start my seeds. All you need is seeds, the Jiffy pots, and some sort of plastic container to get them going in. Now these over here are cucumbers and they are doing really well and they've gotten really big and beautiful. So it's time to repot these. I buy 3.5-inch little plastic pots that I reuse every single year, and I just put my soil that I already mixed up. You guys can watch that video. I'll link to it below. I'll put soil in there and I'll put these right in. And when they're a little bit bigger in 2-3 weeks, they'll actually go in the garden. So I'll show you that as well. The other thing I want to mention is how do you remember which of these are what kind of plant when you end up with this mini starts like I have. And I actually just mapped them out on a piece of paper and wrote down the seeds as I put them in. And you can see I've numbered the starting corner and which box this is on each of them. So that's my little seed starting operation. It is in our bedroom. It's on patio furniture that we drag up to our bedroom, and I'm using reusable containers that I had greens in. So of course, this is not the perfect method, but it was super cheap, super easy. And in a week, I have all these beautiful plant babies coming up and I'll be repotting them. And hopefully this year will be nice and productive in the garden. I hope this helps you guys out if you're getting started. I know a lot of people message me saying my garden looks beautiful and it looks so complicated. And honestly, every year's an experiment and I just do the best I can. And I want you guys to know that you can start from anywhere. So whatever seeds you have, you can get just a little bit of dirt and a plastic container and you can grow your own food too. Here are the Jiffy peat pellets that I use. So this is what they look like before you add water to them. They're just really small, and when you see these hard little pucks, you're like, okay, how is that going to turn into something nice, rich soil? But they work amazing. You just have to soak them first. And this netting just keeps them together from falling apart. So they're really hard little bricks when you start out, which is why they store so well. So I buy normally a 200 pack and then use them up over a few years. So this is how I line them up. I only have 12 in here this time, but I could fit a few more rows if I wanted to. And I'm just going to soak these with water for a few hours until they puff up. You can see that these expanded now and they're nice and moist. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some seeds. All right, those are all done. I have 6 kabocha, 3 Greek dwarf basil, and 3 Genovese basil. And I'm just going to write that up on a paper, label the corner of this box so I know where to start from. And then I will move these upstairs and cover them so that it creates a little greenhouse. All right, I brought these upstairs and they can go with their plant friends. These are the ones we planted last time. So you can see the basil is coming up. The squash is looking really strong. Some of them are busting out the side and one looks a little moldy. So I don't know if we'll use that one, but these are looking really strong considering that these are only a week old. Look at that. That is what we're working with. My plan is to get these all repotted today, and I'll show you my easy method for how I do this. So besides your seeds, you will need some sort of tray. This is actually a winter boot tray, which of course now I won't need. So I'm going to use it as my potting tray. This is just where you would normally put your winter boots so the snow water doesn't get everywhere. So use what you have. You don't have to go crazy with equipment. And then I have these 3.5-inch plastic pots. You could buy compostable, but then you need to rebuy them every year. So I just get these 3.5-inch pots and I reuse them every single year. If I break them, then I would tape them, but honestly, none of them have broken. So I like to reuse these every year, so I only make one purchase. And last but not least is the soil. So here is the soil that I created. It has all my amendments in it. It has peat moss in it. It's got compost for my garden. So this is what the plants will live in. It's the same that's in my raised beds. Make sure to watch that video. And that's important that they get used to the mix that they will be living in. First thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and wet down my soil so it's nice and moist and fill the pots. As I mentioned, these are 3.5-inch and they'll go straight from here into my garden. And I just got these on Amazon. I'll try to link to them below if I can find them. But I'm just gonna go ahead and scoop some in here. There we go. I put a little hole in the middle here so I can pop in a pellet, and I also want to get some tape so I can label these. For labels, I'm just going to use this paper tape I have and a Sharpie and put it right on the pots, and then I will write what the seed is, and I can take these off and reuse it next year. And the first thing you have to do is you have to take off this covering from the peat moss pellet, and then I can stick it right in the little hole we made. Leftover from the peat pellet is just this little film, so you want to make sure you take that off. Here is the progress that I've made. I got this whole tray done. There were only two that didn't sprout. One was a pepperoncini and one was my bitter melon, which sadly I only planted one of, so I should have planted more. And this is an entire tray of peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers. It's gonna be so awesome. And I still have 3 boxes of seeds to go. I have never grown this much from seed. So I'm hoping that I have enough containers and soil. We'll have to see if it'll all fit. All right, I am all done. That took quite a while, but it was so much fun. I've transplanted everything that was big enough. I just have a few flowers and my basil seeds, which are smaller, so I'm gonna leave them in the little spinach containers they're in, and I'll just direct plant those. And I will show you the 2 trays of seedlings that we completed today. And the next video you'll see hopefully at the end of May is me planting my whole garden. I hope we're all gonna have a productive and awesome 2020 gardening season. We definitely need it. I'm really looking forward to it this year. All right, see you next time.